I decided what I would do for my backstory for Vardianna Melindo is a dramatic reading of her backstory rather than a written document, which I know would be more convenient. And I will send Joe, as the DM for this game, uh, a written document describing my backstory. But I also thought if I shared a written document with even Joe, but also the rest of you, uh, it wouldn't necessarily capture who Vardiana is. I think I've got her voice, and as I work with her voice, I start to realize that I can, if you read this document, but you don't read it with her voice, you're not going to probably get the full effect of who Vardiana Melindo is and uh, what kind of a girl she is and really understanding, I can say, describe in the document her relationship with her family. But if it's her talking about her family, you get, the heart feelings of it, those type of things. And so I've chosen a dramatic reading. Now, this is recognizes that a written document is, of course, more convenient. And I know that because there are times when you really can't be playing a video. And there are times when, well, for most of us, and as a general rule, we can read faster than we can listen. And you also, if you had the written document, wouldn't have this monologue right now in which I'm engaging. So because of that, of course, I recognize that it's more convenient to have the written document, but I don't know. And this is more fun for me, so whatever. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start to first. I'll kind of visually introduce you to Vardiana Melindo, and then I will uh, kind of step into that role so you can see what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. So that is my plan, and hopefully it goes well. So a young Ordocin, that is elven, woman sits, making herself small, hugging her legs with her chin resting on her knee. Her exotically large blue eyes and incredibly pale skin stand in stark contrast to her black hair, which is tied out of the way in a quick, messy braid. That contrast, coupled with her athletic build, one thinks she might be attractive if she put some time into her appearance, which she obviously doesn't, or at least not in such a way as to make her attractive. Her clothes seem intentionally stained to function as a forest camouflage. The sticks and mud coming off her person might be the same way. So she may put time into her appearance, but not to appear attractive, rather to disappear. That doesn't mean she's unfriendly. If approached, if you talk to her, she might describe her life something like this. Let's see, where to start? I'm Vardiana Melinda, which means lover of trees, which I mean, I don't hate trees. And I do love the woods, but it's more like on an ecosystem level than like the individual tree. But you don't pick your name, do you? Anyway, I like my name, even if the meaning is weird. Still, it's long, so you can call me Vardy or V. I was born in the woods near Fondale about 22 years ago, 23 years ago. My parents, Handel Messi and Greta Lara, are both forest priests, and my oldest brother, Erdithal, seems to be following in their footsteps. Erdithal is a super good guy. He can turn into a mountain lion. I am not even joking. I have some pretty neat scars, but I'd have way more if it weren't for his healing magic. Mom and Dad were always like, looks like she'll survive. But Erdithal always stepped in. My second oldest brother, Rinthalos, who I call Red, he's a bard, and he's okay, really. but it's decidedly a second income after his real job, where he sells herbs, especially smokable herbs, you know what I'm saying, to nobles who are going out on guided hunting trips or camping trips into the forest. I get along pretty well with my family, although they wish I'd settle down and be a bit more responsible. I do too, really, but I can't. At least not right now. And I don't know why. I love the wild. I love being in the wild. I love to be wild. I can't be tamed. So, uh, when I was a kid, my older siblings protected me from any serious responsibility and encouraged me to follow my own pursuits, which involved a lot of camping and hunting, which I really enjoyed. Sometimes I competed in competitive archery, and I probably won more than I lost, but no one is writing legends about me splitting my own arrows. Maybe Ren is, but it's a joke. I wasn't ever going to make a living as a competitive archer, and I didn't want to. It makes it more likely you'll get recruited by some lordling. Then there'll be barracks and curfews, and fuck that. I prefer more practical archery, I guess you could say. I especially enjoy hunting mule deer, caribou, black bear, and other relatively big game. Not that I wouldn't gladly take down a rabbit or partridge. I'd hunt brown bear, moose, elk too, but they're so big you generally needed another person, and my brothers and parents always seemed too busy. And what friends I had seemed allergic to work. Around 16 or 17, I started doing guided hunts for nobles, the same one Rin sells herbs to. And there was money in that, there really was, and I should have been okay with it. But it was annoying. Of course, when you have someone else, someone like me, tracking game all summer, of course you can ride out and find it in the fall. And if you can't hit a deer with your enchanted Heartseeker bow at 30 feet, you're a moron. No offense if you can't. But there I was, stuck with a regular, cheap bow, and it was hard not to get jealous. I mean, look, the people out in Fondale, they make good bows, and I have a good bow. It's actually more than I could ever afford. My boyfriend, a former boyfriend, I guess, one of the nobles bought it for me. I'm not complaining about my bow. That was a bad example. It's just when you're constantly looking at people who have better, it's hard. And that's what you've got to do if you're a hunting guide for nobles. Then there were a few times that noblemen thought that my body should be part of the package on this hunt. What's better than on a camping trip than some pussy? Most were fine if you just turned them down. And admittedly, I didn't always turn them down. A few noblemen were cute, and everyone needs some dick now and then. But then there were a few who just would not take no for an answer. So what do? After a couple of super bad experiences, I would rather run off than get raped. Leave those nobles to bugger themselves. But then you don't get paid. It was bullshit. Then there was one noble, Sir Roland Goldmine III. That is his name. No joke at all. I am not kidding you. That is his name. And I fucking owe him everything. Seriously, if you see any good stuff on me, he probably bought it. And he is cute, with that wavy blonde hair and caring smile. We had a thing that was more than just on hunts. And if I showed up at his manor house right now, because seriously, he lives in a manor house, we could have a thing immediately. He is crazy in love with me, and not crazy in a dangerous sort of way, at least not dangerous for me, but head over heels type of thing. He would do literally anything to make my life better. And I tried to be as crazy for him, but I don't know. I never felt like I could live his life, you know? Manor houses and nice dresses and shit. I'm more of a climb a tree and shoot an elk type of girl than a frilly dresses and tea party type of girl. And he never once asked me to be anything other or do anything other than what I do and who I am. Never once. But it's just, game. It's complicated, you know? I am an idiot to be sleeping on my bedroll in the mud with cold rations rather than in his feather bed with servants making me breakfast. But I needed to get away from that. So I started taking longer and longer hunts or scouting trips for the guided hunts. I'd go for days, then weeks, then months at a time. Okay, so you can't really say you're out hunting when you haven't been home for 18 months and crossed oceans. But calling it adventuring sounds a little ostentatious, doesn't it? But it's been great. I have had some great kills, even a wild boar once. When I saw a killer whale off the ship's bow, I considered shooting at it, but what would be the point? I mean, it would be fucking rad, but what would be the point? What could my bow do? And what would I do with a whale anyway? I doubt it could even fit on the boat. And I just don't leave like some of the so-called nobles I used to hunt with. I kill for fun, but not just for fun. I hunt the meat for food. I hunt hide for clothes. Like this armor I'm wearing, it's moose. You can punch it and I won't feel a thing. And see the handle on this sword? Now, I can't use a sword for shit. But people feel less inclined to be rude if you have one. Anyway, the handle is made from buck's horn. I took him down, let's see, 4 years ago maybe? We smoked and salted that guy and ate for a week, not counting the massive haunches that mom and dad gave away to the poor, as if we weren't the poor. Anyway, I've had a great time the past year or so. I've met some really cute guys, including Brawley Karnarkas over there. That's Beach's character. Over there, the one with the skinny little sword. That might not look like it's much of a sword, but he knows how to use it. When he hits you, he can make it zap you. He can also do magic. I mean, I grew up around priestly magic, but this is really cool stuff, like wizard magic or some shit. And we've been pretty good friends. It was his idea to cross the ocean. I don't know why. I mean, he looks like you guys, but he talks like he's from the heart of the Fondale. He was on the ship with me all the way from Wardross. There's safety in numbers. He's not a creeper or anything. Now, don't misunderstand me. We weren't a thing or anything. We haven't even hooked up or made out or anything like that. So if you want to hit on him, knock yourself out. I'm just using him as an example of a cute guy. So yeah, I met some cute boys. And most of them have been cool. A couple have been too touchy-feely, but the moose hide armor helps. Not that I wouldn't take it off under the right circumstances. You know what I mean. And wow, beer. I've never really been into it at home. My parents, as you might guess, are pretty religious and are all about that stuff addles your mind and you can't commune with nature. So I didn't grow up with it on the table. And when Rin, my brother, I talked about him earlier, the bard, finally introduced me to it, I wouldn't recommend the crap he drinks. So it was a while before I really started drinking beer. But let me say, let me give you a scenario. You drop a mountain sheep carcass off at a butcher, and he gives you enough money for a room in an inn, and you've got a bit left over. So you go into the inn, worn out from the road, and have a frothy beer. It's almost as good as a hot summer night spent sleeping under the stars. So that's me. I'm kind of an outdoorsy girl, I guess you could say. How about you? Do you like hunting?